Well, the lawsuit threats are starting to appear. The beauty part of being in a position where you have nothing to lose, then telling the truth, you can't threaten to keep quiet. That's why I do this channel. That's why I'm free to speak my mind and talk about every single thing I know in truth and with as much love as I possibly can muster, because I know that you're dumb as fuck if you're angry. So I know that at all times you got to try and be as loving as possible. Really, really, really hard to be loving as possible when you just learn your brother killed your parents. Like I say, the views with my father, there's shame on me for not having more concern for his life. And it's mostly because I haven't gotten to the point where I know how to cure these people. It's almost like time and events need to pass on in order for that solution to unfold. But there is some good news. I happen to love lawsuits. Kind of really dislike the justice system. Why? Because it's not perfect. And it wasn't perfect enough to stop my brother, to protect anybody, but it's designed to protect you. So I can say whatever I want because our justice system is designed to allow me to say whatever I want. And in the words of my own dear brother, you don't have the right. My brother says that I don't have any rights to even see my parents' will. I have no rights to see my parents, my mother at all. I have no rights to talk to her. I have no rights to her medical information. I have no rights. Well, he really doesn't have very many rights in keeping me quiet. And here's the deal, is I am claiming that my father was a psychopath and my brother's a psychopath, and my future nephew has the potential to also walk in the shoes of the psychopath. And by me even talking and saying and putting that label on him opens the door even wider for my nephew to walk into that psychopathic door. And I'll explain why. I have the same mind. I came from the same parents. So the way my brother thinks is also the same way I think, because it's the way our family thinks. When you start to see the patterns of how we all think, you start to see, okay, well, what makes us really different? And there's no question. My father even openly admitted he can't see anything good when good is right in front of him. And my brother is in the same way. He can't see anything good because of the glasses he views his world through. Our common sense is what's ending up killing us. And look at the term, what is in common that makes sense to you is killing us. So if I was to go into a court of law, would it not make common sense that I will pick away at all the flaws within the justice system? I have more, as soon as a judge disagrees with anything I'm saying, I would cite prejudice. As soon as any evidence would not be allowed, I would cite prejudice and bring reasoning as to why it's prejudice. I would say it's prejudice right from the start, because I wouldn't be able to afford the language that you need to speak while in that courtroom. My brother can afford to speak that language, but I cannot. I can't afford a lawyer. So the scales of justice, the evidence that's allowed to be presented has to go through the quality of lawyer you have. So if I can't afford the quality of lawyer that's equal to my brother's, then it's not a fair justice system. So it's prejudiced. So they can't even hear any case. Plus, my father was in advertising the newspaper business, and more the news than the media, but he knew how to manipulate media and get what he wanted. So the Dragon's Den was one example. Is I wanted a ton of energy focused on the term bottled intentions, and then just let it sit and percolate and use it for another day. Tons and tons and tons of money has been spent in advertising focusing on this, because it was used to advertise the commercial, and you can only get that level of advertising if you are the nut bar of the season, so it's kind of good. Now, being in the position where I'm at, where I'm able to say, hey, my brother caused the death of my mother, and it's truthful, and I am writing a book of all of the criminal actions of our past in our family, all of my brother's secrets. Yes, he would sue me, you would think. But not really true, because he has way too many secrets. If he went into a court of law, then all of his secrets come into question, where he has to prove whether it's true or not. So I can't actually go into a court of law and make him prove anything. But when he forces me into a court of law, he has to prove something. He has to prove I'm wrong. So he won't go into court for that. Nobody will go into court for anything that I'm saying, because they have to prove that I'm wrong. And they can't. And they can't when I have this level of income. If the book ended up being successful, then I could afford equal legal fees. And guess what? I'm not scared. Plus, it brings more advertising to selling a book. There's nothing better that sells books than a good lawsuit. It's advertising. It's how our economy functions. It is sort of like psychopathic thinking that my father and brother would use to profit at whatever crimes they were doing. But see, they looked at glasses through not seeing anything good in the world. I can see that I look through different glasses. I try to see the good in everything. And although I really do question whether my brother's actions were correct, I can still see the good in my brother. He's just looking through glasses that see nothing but bad. And if I walked in my brother's shoes and had the exact same experiences my brother had, I would have done the exact same thing. I would have walked and done exactly what my brother had done if I had his exact experiences. So would I still say they were right? I'd be looking in a mirror trying to get somebody to say, hey, if I'm killing my mom, please stop me. But when you're in that mind, you think everything you know is right. The one thing that I can say is that in the mindset of my brother, could he see the love for his own mother and feel the love she had for her two daughters? Because if he did, he would have known that she would have wanted her two loving daughters by her side at all costs. There would be, in my mind, I know that if I was in the position of my brother, knowing him walking in my shoes and I was in his shoes, knowing their health, and, if things were challenging for me, I would phone all family members. I would make sure I would do everything possible to make sure everybody that loved her was near her. But that's me. That's how I could see what my mother wanted. I would do everything I could to give my mother what she wanted, especially on her deathbed. But my brother, looking through angry eyes, he's caught up in I guess, a disagreement with me. And the disagreement is every time I seen him leaving my parents' house, he was freaking drunk and drove his family home. Trying to stop that and save them from that. I mean, here I'm watching my father pour the drinks for my brother. He's totally drunk and driving him home, and everybody's sitting there watching it thinking it's normal. While everybody's totally against alcoholism. You can't be against alcoholism while feeding the alcoholic in the family. And think that in some way, shape, or form, you guys are healthy while you're calling me mentally ill. So I've had to really understand that mentality of why would you call me mentally ill when it doesn't make common sense that I am the one sick and your behaviors look a little bit more sick. So I know the traps are getting angry. I know the traps are about trying to get even. There are so many traps involved because what happens is they have hateful eyes they look through the world with. I'm saying their world is not happy because they look through negative screens. When you receive information to base your logic on, you receive that information through your senses, through your eyes, through your ears, through your skin cells, touching, tasting, your intuition. That is your senses. And what we have in common with our senses is fucking up our minds. Because the more we get angry, the dumber shit we are. And my brother's looking through angry glasses and he's doing dumb things. So I know, without a doubt, if I look through angry eyes, I will be making dumb decisions. So I'm not looking through angry eyes. I'm kind of looking at, okay, what am I looking for? What is the end result of what I'm doing? Why am I writing a book? Why am I revealing secrets? Why am I confronting evil? Because I think I can handle the conversation, their logical mind, and ask them good questions that I don't think that, in their answering, they would have to see their own mindset. I think I've gained more than enough information to be able to ask those questions. So that's what I'm doing. The end result is I would love my brother to be happy. Whatever is driving him to be an alcoholic, whatever life pain is going on, I would love my brother to be able to stop that pain. I would love my sister-in-law not to have to, guide her life to be perfect so that she's judged as perfect through putting everybody else down. That's the only way she can be happy is by putting, judging other people to be of a lower class and a social problem when she herself is a social problem because she's not happy with herself. She doesn't see the perfection of just being her. No, she's got to work very, very hard at keeping an illusion of being perfect. And one of those big illusions with these people is they got to point the finger and they got to talk like I'm talking to other people and say negative things about them. My sister-in-law has put her own sister down. She has put, people tell you who they are. When I sit in a room and listen to my sister-in-law put down her sister and tell her she's of a social lower class, that her kids are unwanted, and she is the social problem, I know that as long as my life looks similar to her sister's life, she's talking about me to a lot of other people too. So, can I sue them for talking and lying about me because of their perspective, because of their hateful eyes, because they don't know how to be happy from within? They need to harm other people to say, hey, look, in comparison to your life, my life is a lot better. The only reason you got wealthy is because you've been taking and stealing the life energy out of everybody else. I would love that changed. I would love to see her happy. Most importantly, I'm confused as to where my niece and nephew are. These are my blood relatives. By me calling my nephew a psychopath, by me just giving that label, he starts acting like it now. Especially if he's going to try and prove me wrong. Because while he's trying to prove me wrong, he's in an angry state. And while he's in an angry state, he's going to walk in the perfect path of a psychopath. So he needs to see the love in his aunt and say, don't repeat the same patterns as your father. You do need to speak up, and that is a very scary thing to do. But you need to speak up and say, yeah, you were wrong. And then you need to show them love. I don't want my brother harmed. I don't want him arrested. I don't want his life, if he needs money, let him have it. But he does need to recognize right from wrong, and so do my niece and nephew, so this pattern is not repeated, because they do affect other people negatively, and you don't even know it. I've had one taxpayer that says he's thinks that what I'm doing is wrong and what he's doing is right. Yet he's costing you taxpayers more money than I ever am. Peace and love out.